it'll be more similar to a spacewalk.
Your sense of up and down is sort of screwed up. And you have to be very careful when you walk around on an asteroid because the gravity of the asteroid is so weak. A good jump can send you into an orbit around the asteroid or even send you out at escape velocity and escape from the asteroid completely. So you have to make sure that you're tethered down when you're exploring.
But since rovers have already proved to be so successful at exploring other worlds, is there a strong reason to send astronauts to an asteroid?
Astronauts, explorers, the public interested in space yearn to see what it's like in person through real human eyes. And that day is coming.
Robots can do a lot and have done a lot in space exploration, but there is no better geologist than a human being. To be a geologist exploring an asteroid and being able to recognize the history of a particular region, looking at familiar types of geological formations, you know just what you want to do. You want to go sample that rock, you don't want to go sample that rock.
Asteroids are also important because of the resources they might contain. The year is 2050, and a crew of astronauts has just landed their spacecraft on an asteroid. They're not here to explore. This is merely a pit stop. But what types of precious resources could this small rocky world possibly contain? An asteroid attack can wipe out entire species, including humans. But instead of accepting that fate, scientists are trying to learn enough about them to prevent disaster. And asteroids that aren't headed towards Earth may even turn out to be helpful.
One of the reasons to visit asteroids and to study them is that they may have some resources that could be useful to future human explorers. And among the most important of those would be ice, water. People are going to need ice to live and drink and use in a practical sense.
The year is 2050, and a crew on its way to Mars has just stopped at an asteroid for water and other supplies. The oxygen in the water can be separated to refill the crew's breathing tanks. But there's even more that this rocky supply station has to offer.
It's conceivable that with advanced technology, we could go to those asteroids, break down the water, and use the hydrogen and oxygen as fuel to take spacecraft even farther.
And there may even be priceless materials to bring back to Earth. Elements so rare and critical to high-tech success that they could be the cause of future wars.
Some asteroids have platinum and titanium and rare earth elements that are important in many aspects of electronics, which are called rare earth elements for a reason, because they're rare on the Earth. They might not be so rare in certain kinds of asteroids.
But the most important reason to investigate asteroids remains their ability to instantly kill millions of people. Or wipe out the human race altogether. To counter this threat, NASA launched the WISE mission in December 2009. The Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer has already found 25,000 asteroids and more than a dozen comets that were too dark to find using visible light.
It's actually looking all around our solar system, hopefully to look at 99% of the sky and try and map more of these near-Earth objects, these asteroids that we haven't found in the past. And hopefully that'll help us in understanding if there are any that are in near-term collision courses with the Earth.
And even though it doesn't usually make front-page news, there are already plenty of asteroids that pass close to Earth. In April 2010, a 70-foot wide asteroid passed within 220,000 miles of Earth. which is closer than the distance from the Earth to the Moon. And a few months before that, a 23-foot wide asteroid came much closer.
In the winter of 2009, in November, there was an asteroid that passed so close to the Earth. It was only 8,000 to 9,000 miles away at its closest approach. And we didn't know about that until it got fairly close.
That's about the same distance as flying from Los Angeles to Mumbai, India. And back in 1972, a tourist's camera near the Grand Tetons in Wyoming captured a much closer pass by a similar-sized object.
The 1972 event was about as close as you can get to a collision without actually colliding. On its way in, it was going to collide with the Earth, but it skipped off of the atmosphere due to the pressure of the air, like a pebble being skipped off of the surface of a lake. That was a really close call.
Then, in October 2008, a small and seemingly uneventful impact occurred in a remote part of the African country of Sudan. But it actually represented a giant step forward in the science of predicting asteroid impacts.
A small asteroid was discovered, and it was predicted to land in Sudan the next day, and it did. Now, this is the first case we have of an object that was discovered and then predicted to land at a particular time and place. And in fact, fragments of this object were later found over the desert.
But that was only a small impact with a single day's notice. Today, the jury is still out on whether we'll be able to identify and deflect something that could inflict catastrophic damage on Earth. Scientists believe there are still millions of unidentified asteroids out there capable of destroying a city. Or worse. Will we be able to figure out which ones will cross our path? And will we be able to prevent them from slamming into Earth? The stakes couldn't possibly be any higher. Each new discovery in the world of asteroids isn't just a scientific advance, but an opportunity to increase the survival chances.
Seek When we looked at the outer solar system, we realized that while most of the very distant objects, these objects beyond Neptune, beyond Pluto, most of these objects, they all go around the sun and they're all sort of pointing off in all different directions. But the most distant objects all swing out in one direction in a very strange way that shouldn't happen. And we realized that the only way we could get them to all swing in one direction is if there is a massive planet also very distant in the solar system, keeping them in place while they all go around the sun. And we started looking at this and thinking, this must be either a coincidence or it's caused by something else. It can't be caused by a planet because that's crazy. There are no planets out there. I went from trying very hard to be skeptical that what we were talking about was true to suddenly thinking, oh, this actually might even be true.
So the object itself likely is more massive than the Earth, probably a little bit less massive than Neptune. It sits right in between that terrestrial to giant icy planet range. Its orbit, unlike the orbits of the known planets, is not nearly circular and planar. Instead, it is exceptionally wide, 20 times bigger than the orbit of Neptune. The orbital period of the Earth is, of course, 1 year. Right? The orbital period of Jupiter, the big player in our solar system, is about 10 years. The orbital period of this putative ninth planet is 20,000 years.
We have nothing like it in the solar system, so it's new for us. It is, however, the most common mass of planets that have been found around all of the other stars. People have always looked at all these other planets in this strange mass range and said, wow, I wonder what these are. I don't know what these are because we don't have anything like it in the solar system. Looks like maybe we do. I'm really hoping that as we announce this, people start a worldwide search to go find this ninth planet.
Again, solar stream is coming from the right. That's where the sun is. All the plasma in the blue is being blown backwards. That's a part of our protective shield here. 2 hours missing, 5:37, exactly the same time. Everything goes haywire. Come up to that point again. Everything's coming from the right. Bam. Now the black lines are our field lines. That's our magnetic field lines. Very important. They have now bent backwards at this point. People have talked about Planet X, n.w.o, Planet 7. If there's an object coming in, would it have orbiting planets? Would it have debris with it?
So this is some stuff that piqued my curiosity that I'm sharing with you here. All of this stuff will be linked. I suggest you go to the Caltech thing and watch the whole video. But anyways, I'm going to try and get through this quickly for you. Planet X to really cause mass extinction this month. This is April 9th, 2016. We're going to come down here. Thanks to science, we know that the larger the celestial body, the bigger its gravity, and consequently its ability to affect other, smaller bodies around it. We've known of Jupiter's crucial role in protecting us from asteroids for quite some time now, but the mysterious Nibiru could very well do the opposite, and some say there's good reason to believe it. We're going to come down here. A retired astrophysics professor from the University of Louisiana, Daniel Whitmire, is saying Nibiru has all but arrived to our neck of the woods, and that the destruction brought about by its gravitational trickery will take place this very April, as it's done numerous times before. Then we're going to come down here. Earlier this year, we started seeing space anomalies manifesting in a small group of objects, which have been taking on a peculiar orbit. Only something 10 times the size of the Earth, as theorized with Nibiru, could influence celestial objects in such a way, according to a study from Caltech. The anomaly was picked up on in the Kuiper Belt, which stretches all the way past Neptune, and it resurrected a 100-year debate. And then we're going to come over here, because again, this stuff just piqued my curiosity, and I wanted to share it with you. This is fire officials' reclaim report of possible meteor strike in Bowie. This is Bowie, Maryland. This was on April 25th, 2016. And we're going to come down here, where this was put out by the Bowie Volunteer Fire Department. Possible meteorite strike behind Scarlet Oak Terrace causing a massive brush fire. And then we're going to come up here and see that when firefighters made it to the site, there was a large pit, which was 12 to 15 feet wide by 5 to 6 feet deep. And the fire spread to adjacent trees and brush and took approximately 15 firefighters 4 hours to extinguish. But again, they came out and said, nope, that should have never been put out. The Post should have never listed a meteorite as the cause. Okay. Okay, so now we're coming over here. Was it a meteor? Solving the mystery of New Jersey's tsunami buoy. April 25th, 2016, a tsunami warning device about 200 miles off the coast of New Jersey went into event mode over the weekend, but there were no giant waves threatening the shore. There was speculation that the drop could have been triggered by a meteor because the Lyrid meteor showers were active during the weekend. There also was speculation a submarine could have struck the buoy. So again, this stuff just piqued my curiosity, want to share. We're going to move here. Okay, so now here we are, coast to coast. This was from March 30th, 2016. In the first half of the show, retired investigative researcher Bob Fletcher talked about his contention that a rogue Planet X or Nibiru is coming our way and the disastrous effects it could have for Earth. He first became suspicious that something was afoot when he discovered that massive amounts of money were being funneled out of the government and the Federal Reserve. He concluded that these funds were surreptitiously used for the construction and stocking of underground facilities that will house the elite and members of the New World Order, while the arrival of Planet X wreaks cataclysms upon the planet's surface. According to his sources, the knowledge of Planet X dates as far back as 1983. So again, I was just like, well, that's interesting. And so we're coming over here because I remember hearing about Rumsfeld talking about the missing $2.3 trillion that they couldn't track on September 10th. And we all know what happened on September 11th, 2001. Nobody was talking about the missing money. So I Googled just to see, and there was this one, which brought me over here. So here we are, debunked. Rumsfeld says 2.3 trillion missing from the Pentagon. In 2001, Donald Rumsfeld said, according to some estimates, we cannot track 2.3 trillion in transactions. This has been misinterpreted by many people as 2.3 trillion actually going missing. However, it's really just about the way the money was accounted for. So here's the original source. Go look at it for yourself, right? Okay. Oh, well, golly gee. Page not found. Okay, well, there was another link, right? Here, we can also see this. Huh. No input file specified, but yes, there was. So again, this was something, this has gone long, but it really, really piqued my curiosity. And I wanted to share it because, again, trying to put the pieces together. Here we are. He first became suspicious that something was afoot when he discovered that massive amounts of money were being funneled out of the government. And then, I don't know. This just made me go, that's interesting.